Om Shanti. Good afternoon. Warm welcome to Insperience. Tomorrow, June 21st, is quite a special day on our planet. It's the confluence of many special occasions: Father's Day, summer solstice, and the International Day of Yoga, United Nations recognized day. And so we'd like to take inspiration from that, from the very ancient study of yoga. There's many different paths of yoga, but in essence, yoga means union, relationship, harmonizing. In the West, the term yoga conjures images of different physical postures, asanas, and breath. And so exploring the spiritual significance of one of those postures, perhaps the most ancient, predating Hatha Yoga, and almost synonymous with meditation and spirituality. That posture, of course, is Padmasana, or lotus pose, the classic meditation posture. Why the lotus pose? So synonymous to spirituality, going beyond the physical posture to its significance. In fact, physically speaking, many find the lotus pose quite challenging. Probably the top cause of injuries, especially to the knees. So please don't try it unless you're familiar with it. But internally, the posture of the mind, the lotus. The lotus itself is a very, very unique flower, sitting above the water, very pristine and pure, and yet big, thick roots firmly in the mud. It is the symbol of purity whilst acting and interacting in the world. And therefore, it is the symbol of true happiness. Being able to maintain a pure sense of self, integrity, while coming into the world, playing all my roles, fulfilling all responsibilities, but never losing that connection with the self. True lotus posture inside. That's what we'll explore today. Sitting comfortably does not have to be Padmasana. I take a moment to review what my classic day looks like. Waking up, preparing to come into sound and action and time. And even if I start the day in a very quiet, meditative way, it does not seem to take long before I'm caught up in the realm of action. My mind begins to race through time, planning, considering, analyzing, assessing, worrying, stressing. It's as if I get lost in the whirlwind of daily activity, vowing tomorrow will be different. And yet it often becomes the same. losing myself in my roles and responsibilities is the only solution to step away, to go into solitude? Or is there the possibility to be like the symbol of the lotus, acting, interacting, but from such a pure, authentic place? It is possible. In fact, that is a healthy life. I go inside into the sacred space of my mind, a space that sometimes can be crowded with the activity and clutter of day to day. But at this moment, I have the awareness of how sacred that space of the mind is. And just as we leave our shoes outside the door of the physical yoga studio, I leave thoughts of day-to-day life outside the door of my mind, not trekking the mud of day-to-day life inside, entering the sacred space of my mind with such care and seating my attention there with a single focus of spiritual practice. Those roots of the lotus are not just about being in the mud, but firmly rooted in spirituality. Before I go into day-to-day life, my spiritual practice in the sacred space of my mind is very, very simple, not complicated, very simple practice for my mind. Just remembering the true meaning of yoga, reconnecting, reunion, remembering. Usually my mind is remembering things of the world, my physical life. But in this sacred space of my mind, I'm going to remember spiritual aspects of myself. Remembering what is spiritual and eternal. And foremost, the most important seat of awareness, remembering who I am, what I am. I am not this body. I use this body to express through. But I am the being inside. The living being. The one who is thinking, observing, experiencing. I am the one that gives life to this body. This body is made of matter, which science can study. And this matter is only living while I am in it. I am the power source, the life force, the thinking, feeling being in this body. And it is within me that all the qualities and virtues and values reside. I am not just the life force. I am the treasure store, the value maker. It is I, the soul, that has the capacity for peace, for love, for truth, nothing to do with the body. Those qualities belong to me. This body is visible to the physical eyes, but I am so subtle, science cannot even see me. With even the most powerful microscope, I am still hidden because I am not physical at all. Pure quality. A point of spiritual energy. Such a wonder what is packed within me, this tiny invisible point. And the essence of me, the fragrance of my being, like a lotus, deep peace. More than anything else, deep peace defines me. And when I am completely rooted in myself, experiencing myself in such a pure way, a tiny spark of life, I can feel my peaceful nature. I am like the eye of a storm. This body of action, of movement wrapped around me. and I am the still point hidden inside, making the body move, sitting in the control room behind the forehead. Such an amazing relationship between me and this body. Taking a moment to stabilize in that awareness. I, the point of spiritual light, the being of peace, I am seated behind the forehead, expressing through this body. I give life to.
One, two, three.
This is perhaps the most sacred experience I can hold of myself. Just like that lotus flower above water, as if that water is spiritual knowledge and it is supporting me, my experience of myself. The deities of Hindu mythology are often shown standing or seated on a lotus, holding a lotus, as if that is the secret of their divine lives. The secret behind their very rich and beautiful and benevolent lives. To always remember who and what they are. It is a God-given gift for every soul to remember the self, to experience the depth of the self, this innate capacity for inner peace, contentment, dignity, and as carefully as one might hold a lotus flower, to hold that awareness as I act and interact, as if the deities move through the world with a lotus always under their feet, bringing my strong roots into the mud, day-to-day life, not stepping away, but always in step with a true sense of self. Can I stay internally connected to that deep feeling of my own peace as a soul, while acting and interacting with the physical world? At first, it will take care, attention, until it becomes natural, a lotus nature. And it may also require power, spiritual power, power received through the ultimate union or yoga, communion with God, the one who has an ever pure heart. A deep personal connection with that soul, the Supreme Soul, who stays beyond the mud, who stays in sweet silence, beyond everything worldly, and is completely available to every soul to simply link my mind, go beyond through the sacred space of my mind, be with that one and receive power, love, light, peace. Have my true self reinforced. This communion with God, the ever pure one, gives me the power to honor my own purity, remain true to myself, sustain that inner peace as I come into day-to-day life. And that will change my life from ordinary to sacred. This is true Padmasana, the inner posture, lotus posture of the soul. Breathing life into the deepest symbol of yoga, the lotus. I become that lotus posture as I walk and move around. Pure feelings for myself, completely supported by a union with God, such that I begin to transform the quality of my life.
Spirit am I, free of all limits, safe and healed and whole. Spirit am I, free to forgive and free to save the world. Spirit am I, Spirit am I, free of all limits, safe and healed and whole. Spirit am I, free to forgive and free to save the world. Spirit am I, Spirit am I, free of all limits, safe and healed and whole. Spirit am I, free to forgive and free to save the world. Spirit am I, Spirit am I, free of all limits, safe and healed and whole. Spirit am I, free to forgive and free to save the world. Spirit am I, Spirit am I, and healed and whole. Spirit am I, free to forgive and free to save the world. Spirit am I, Spirit am I, free of all limits, safe and
And that concludes Insperience for today. Thank you so much for joining and wishing you a very beautiful day tomorrow, the International Day of Yoga, summer solstice, Father's Day, powerful day. If you choose, you're welcome to join us in 15 minutes on the Zoom platform for inner fitness. The topic is self-correction. The information can be found at our website if looking for details on how to join. Om Shanti.